This is an unannounced live that I'm going right now here on the JP Knowledge YouTube channel. I know I should probably announce these things more. I've just been kind of going live randomly. I've done it a few times where I have announced it, but I was debating about announcing this one. I just was busy, didn't know if I was going to be able to do a live today. So for that reason, I didn't uh, put any type of announcement that I was going to have it. But I wanted to do it because I haven't done a live in a little bit, and I want to talk to people, see how everyone's doing. I just been having kind of a very busy year, trying to make a lot of different changes and different things like that in life. So because of that, it's taking up a decent amount of time. But I got a lot of videos, a lot of content coming out, and some trips and stuff like that as well. So yeah, but in this video, I probably should have made it as an announcement. What's going on, Chad? I probably should have put it up here, but I'm going to be trying to talk more about like that different changes within Hyatt, and then just some of the different things you'll see as devaluations, people's thoughts on it, and yeah, that type of information. So I'm gonna go into some of that. I wonder, can I change the hey, what's going on, PG? Can I change the title of this to actually make it be Hyatt changes? I guess it doesn't matter that much, but oh well, I just clicked live. I'll just kind of go with it as it is. Working nights here in San Diego. Can't sleep. Welcome to my time zone, Chad. That's all right. At least you get the nice weather. You don't. Well, actually, you're in Florida, so you normally have nice weather anyways. So, yeah, less humidity, I guess. But yeah, so here people talk about the devaluations of Hyatt. So Hyatt has had some changes within their program. They've been doing this like every year, and what ends up happening is you end up having changes to the categories for the different hotels within the World of Hyatt program. So you have way more of them going up in category versus going down. I think that it's something like, I'm trying to remember the exact number, but I think it's like 75% of the different change ones are going up as compared to 25% of them are going down. And it is, unfortunate there is some change going on, but a lot of the spots that I see that are changes, I'm like, I get it. Where I end up seeing some of the changes, such as like the one in Costa Rica, that's been a very popular one that is quite expensive. I know that there's one in here that I visited last year, which is the Thompson in Madrid. So that's one that I would recommend people jump on before that one changes. That was one that, when it first was initially released, was only at a category 4. So I got that hotel at a category 4, and then I was able to get it there. And then, like, I think within like a couple months after me even booking the hotel, it jumped up to being a category 5. And now it's already about to be a category 6. It's a really nice hotel in a perfect location. Why it started off as a category 4, I don't even know, but I'm happy I was able to take advantage of that. But yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those reasons why when you get your points, take advantage of them, because everything that you see is not just going to consistently be the same. You're never going to have, okay, this trip that I want to book is only going to be 100,000 points because I see that it is today. So I'm going to try to do that same thing next year when I want to go, because next year when you try to go, that may end up being 150,000 points. So I hear Luke from Luke Points and Miles talk about how he believes we're in the golden age of credit card points. And I got to tell you, I'm on the same boat as him. And the reason why I say that is not because the reason why I say that is because a lot of people will look at stuff and they'll go, oh my goodness, all these different sweet spots and all these different things have vanished. The one thing that I have noticed being in this for a little bit is how much more points you can get in this game without needing to be someone who's like manufactured spending to be able to get yourself and absorb an amount of points. So if you go back a few years ago, if you wanted to get yourself many different American Express cards, you didn't rack up a ton of points from sign-up bonuses. So, I mean, if you got many of them, sure, but if you were looking at getting yourself something like the Platinum card, I think the regular welcome offer for that, a lot of the times, somewhere around like 60,000 points. I'm pretty sure the Gold card was near like 25,000 points. It might have been 30 for a very, very long time. And then in the last few years, it jumped up to being 60,000, 75. Now you can end up getting the 90,000 points. American Express Platinum has it at 100,000 regularly now. There used to be like you get a special offer for maybe getting 100,000 6 years ago. Now you can get it as 100,000, 150,000 is out there for a sign-up bonus. What's going on, Lynn? So there's a way to rack up a ton of points. Even though there are devaluations, when I look at devaluations, how you doing, John? I don't even think of it as like Oh man, my question ends up being is it competitive against other programs out there? So if I end up seeing a devaluation with something like Turkish Airlines, the reason why that one annoyed me because I'm like, well, there's not going to be a reason for me to use this program. I mean, you can use it for, I would say, Economy United, so you can use it for that part right there. But like for trying to do uh, business class over to Europe, I would rather just use other programs where one, you can end up either finding easier availability, or two, the taxes and fees are going to be significantly lower. So you could either use something still with like Virgin Atlantic to fly with Delta to get yourself a business class flight over to Europe, East Coast, 50,000 points. The availability is very, very hard to find for that, but it's a really good deal since the tax and fees are so low. If you want to do something where the availability is much more broad, you could do something like um, uh, Flying Blue, where you end up having either through KLM or through Air France, where you end up seeing that there is going to be way more availability at 50,000 points. You do have some um, um, like pretty decent taxes and fees coming in at like $200 to $300. But availability for 3, 4, 5 seats, I've seen numerous times on their program, which is great if you happen to be traveling with family. Yes, the tax and fees can add up, but it's going to be way better than if you were going to be paying for business and first class, which end up being multiple thousands of dollars. So with devaluations, what I think of is this still competitive? And when I look at something like Hyatt, while it has had some devaluations with it, the stuff that's changed with Hyatt right now has not made me go, well, I'm not going to be with the program anymore because of the few changes that have happened. I just look at it going, okay, well, where are still the spots that I want to stay at, and where are the spots that have just made it it's not as competitive anymore. So one of the places I've noticed that aren't really as competitive anymore with something like Hyatt, I mean, maybe you could say it's still somewhat competitive, but I just wouldn't spend the points on it. Would end up being if you want to do all inclusives. All inclusives used to be an awesome sweet spot for the World of Hyatt program a few years ago. I mean, you could go there. I mean, I haven't done an all inclusive with them, but I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was a point where you could. I know it's definitely 20,000, but I feel like there was a point where you could have done it for 15,000 at some points. There might even still be one right now that still has it at that. But now it's just like I see a lot of the all inclusives that were 20,000 a year ago are like 40,000 now. So it's like 40,000 points for some of these all inclusives. You're looking at you could maybe even just cash out your chase points and then be able to book that same thing, or maybe even book it through like the Travel Portal. You wouldn't even need to even go through the World of Hyatt program. So it starts to make those things not be as valuable. But then and then also when you look at something like the Free Night Award Certificate, those have also been uh, become a little bit less valuable with the World of Hyatt program, because a lot of the places where you can end up getting yourself those Category 4 certificates are no longer available. Like I looked at some of the few different ones that I've used for that. The Park Hyatt in Istanbul, that one now is, what is it, a Category 6? That one jumped. It was a Category 4 when I first did it, and I know it jumped to a Category 5, and I think it just jumped again. So I'm pretty sure the Park Hyatt in Istanbul, is that considered Asia or Europe? That's a good question. Istanbul. Pretty sure that jumped. I can't find it right now, but something like that jumped where you're like, wow, now that's so much more expensive. But I don't think the property, when it comes to like the price point of like the physical cash, ends up really equaling out to that. Um, so yeah, something like that's unfortunate. The what's another property that I've used it at? Well, I guess the I didn't use it at the one in Madrid, but that's another property that's jumped up. It just, you end up seeing a lot of the different ones changing. So that is unfortunate. That makes the street or the free night award certificates for other programs just look even better, because when you end up seeing it with Hyatt, you go, okay, well, I mean, yes, you can still use it on some Category 3s. That can still be pretty nice. But if you're trying to get yourself that full level of value, you end up seeing it with some of these Category 4s changing, and you just go, well, I'm running out of spots to use that. Like the one good thing that I did see is that within America, San Francisco now added a hotel that's going to be Category 4. I believe it's a Hyatt Centric in San Francisco, which actually I stayed at last year. Um, and that used to be a Category 5. It didn't match up when it came to like the price point versus the points, if you're trying to get yourself somewhere near like 2 cents per point. Um, so now that that's dropping, at least if you happen to have suite or suite free night award certificates, you can at least use it there. But and then also actually one that I am, is this one I'm using it at? I think that the first night I go over to Italy, I'm going over to Italy later on for my birthday. I'm going to be staying at the Tribune over in Rome, and that one was a category 4. Now it's jumping up to category 5. So yeah, it is unfortunate. Definitely use up those Sweet Upgrade awards. Sweet Upgrade. I keep on saying Sweet Upgrade awards. The free night award certificates before, I believe it's March 20. It's either 23rd or 26th. So then you can end up locking in that value. But as a whole, I don't think that it's. I don't look at this as being a major devaluation. I just look at it as being some unfortunate changes. But I think that the way that they end up processing this is that they just look at it going, okay, which hotels are people using their points at the most? Which ones we end up losing value on because people are using them at peak times? These are the ones we have to jump up so we can end up getting more money back from them. Because there's some properties in here that are changing, such as like ones over in Japan, and they're going down. There's the Hyatt Place in Kyoto is dropping down to a category 2, which is pretty nice. I mean, the Park Hyatt in Kyoto is still a category 8. That's actually one that I stayed at. Very, very nice hotel. But people, I guess, weren't staying at the Park or the Hyatt Place in Kyoto, which I've heard is not bad. That was one that I was debating about doing because when I first originally was going over to Kyoto, there wasn't any award availability for the Park Hyatt Kyoto. And then as I was checking the days as I led up to it, then I saw that the availability popped up. So I ended up switching off of that hotel and booking the Park Hyatt in Kyoto. But yeah, this is the reason why, like, when you look at things such as like devaluations or these different changes that are kind of going on, just see if it's still competitive. Don't think of it as everything's going to shambles. The credit card points aren't valuable anymore. All the things are gone. That's not how it is. Trust me, these things are still very, very valuable. I still just did which you're going to see some videos coming out. It was a round trip first class with ANA, and it was a little over 120,000 Virgin Atlantic miles. So that's a pretty darn good deal. But it just comes down to things being competitive. I'm going to quickly look at, I see some people have been writing in here, so sorry if I missed so many. Call me Lonnie, what's going on? Welcome to your first stream with me. Let's see. One Way Travels, hello, welcome. Cesar, what's going on, man? I see you. Going to Nolo? I believe so. So the plan is, yes, I haven't booked the flights. The flights right now, I have like a credit, and I'm coming from LA, so there's only, I think, Delta that does direct one. But I was looking at hotels, so I have been planning. I do want to go. Yes, I want to go. I had such a great time in Vegas. It was so much fun. And the last I went to New Orleans that was last year. I went to New Orleans in 2023 for Mardi Gras, and it should have been a great time, and it was mostly fun, but I went with someone who I was dating, and then there was just there was a lot of drama that happened. So as of right now, like, I don't have the highest, the best memories of New Orleans. So maybe I should just go back there to, give myself better memories of that place. It wasn't a terrible trip. It's just, but yeah, I want to go. I'm looking at it. I was looking at different hotels, and I'm looking at flights. The flights are stupid expensive to get over there for that weekend, but I'm just trying to see certain things with points, trying to figure it out. But as of right now, you can count me as highly likely of going. I just haven't gotten it all taken care of yet. Let's see. Don't know whatever issue allowed me. Okay, Hyatt all-inclusives are getting out of hand. Yeah, Hyatt all-inclusives is really, when I look at it, I mean, I'm not someone who likes to do all-inclusives, let me take that back. I haven't done an all-inclusive, and when I look at it, I think to myself, I don't know if this is what I would like to do, because while I do like to stay at the hotel for a certain degree of the time I'm out there, I also like to explore the location. So like when I went to Mexico, I remember, okay, there was many different all-inclusive Hyatt hotels I could have stayed at over there, and I remember just going, no, I want to stay at the Thompson in Mexico because I can stay at this really cool hotel with this awesome pool, but I don't want to just be staying at this location. So I went over to I stayed in different parts of Playa del Carmen. I went over to Cozumel, the island. I went over to Tulum, and then up to Cancun. So I just was traveling, and I went over to go see I think it's Chichen Itza pyramid. So I like to explore a decent amount. So for me, as I see the all-inclusives, I feel bad for people who like to do it, because I know some people are just like, I think even like Uncle Luke, he says, get me a drink, let me chill on by the pool and just enjoy the entire time of being there. And I get that a lot of people like that, but I like to more explore. But yeah, they're getting rammed, they're getting destroyed, so kind of stinks for them. Oh, thanks, Chad. Yeah, Chad's telling me hit the like button. We did the Ziva, or sorry, you did the Zalara in Jamaica, 20K. No way for 40K now. Yeah, they're getting hit pretty hard. Yes. So One Way Travel was asking me when I stayed in the room in the Park Hyatt in Istanbul, did I stay in the room with the sauna? So I stayed at a room that had, I believe it was more of a steam room, so it wasn't a sauna. There is a sauna room at the Hyatt. I forget the name of it. It's somewhere in Sweden. I think Stockholm, Sweden. But there's one that has a sauna out there. This one has I believe it's like it's more of a steam room. But yes, I stayed in one. I got upgraded to that room, and that hotel is awesome. That's the Salt Bays Hotel. So I didn't see him there, but like he has his restaurant there, and or one of his many restaurants there. But I love that hotel. The fact it's going up to a category 6, category 6. I mean, I haven't looked at how much it costs to stay there recently, but when I was going there, it was like, I think it would have been like somewhere in like the $300 range. So if you're looking at like cents per point value, it's not going to end up being, maybe it was like 350. But cents per point value, it's not incredibly high. It's not, I don't think you're going to be getting near 2 cents per point unless the prices jumped significantly since the last time I looked. I mean, it's been some time since I've looked, and inflation's happened pretty decently in the last couple of years. But I just remember when I was there, I met someone. I was talking to this woman out there, and she was telling me like her rent was the cost of like my night at that hotel. So like Istanbul has had like some serious financial, or not financial, but economic issues in the last couple of years. Actually, it's been longer than that, to be honest. And it's just been really, really bad. Almost like kind of like Venezuela, where it's just been like hyperinflation going on over there. So people are not doing the greatest financially. But staying at a hotel like that, if you're staying at something that's like $400 a night, I mean, that's what like people can do. You can get like an Airbnb. I think I heard people doing that for like somewhere near like $500 or $600 for the month over in Istanbul. So it's kind of crazy to think about that ends up being like the cost. But maybe that's the reason why so many people want to stay at that place. Because I love that hotel. I don't know who else here has been to that one, but I remember when I showed up, one of the craziest things was that they knew my name, but I didn't tell them my name. I just showed up. They took my suitcase out of the taxi. They go, "Hello, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. Parker?" And I was like, how do you know my name? They go, we know everyone's name here. I didn't give them anything. I didn't tell the taxi driver. They just somehow knew, I guess, what time I flew in, and they just guessed. I have no idea. Maybe they looked, I don't know. Somehow they figured out who I was. And they were just like perfect when it came to the way the staff was out there. So I don't think I would do not only would I not use a category 1 to 7 certificate there, I don't think I would pay 25,000 points. However, I would still like to stay there again. So yeah, that's definitely still a really cool hotel. So if I stayed there again, I would have to do cash probably, because it just wouldn't make sense the other way. Cool. We got a few other people saying what's up to each other. Losing the partnerships. Yeah, so they lost their partnerships. So Cesar's talking about losing partnerships, less presence and devaluations. Maybe choice can buy Hyatt before it disappears. Had to do it. Yeah, no. So I think what Hyatt's plan is right now, we have to see exactly how it goes, but it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think Hyatt's going to go pretty big on that. It just comes down to which one of those properties are going to be in the Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Like one of the interesting hotels that I saw just looking at the Mr. and Mrs. Smith after they're losing like the small luxury hotels of the world is that some of them are still connected within that. I don't know exactly how that works, but I looked at Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I'm booked right now to stay at the same hotel that Chad Money Minutes stayed at, which is the Palazzo Manfredi out in Rome. I'm going to be there in May. And I was like, oh, shoot, maybe I'm going to lose out on being able to stay at this property, because who knows when this partnership is going to be going away. But what I realized is I looked at Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I saw that same hotel I could book through Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So I don't know exactly how Mr. and Mrs. Smith works. What I do know is that there are similar hotels that are connected within the small luxury hotels of the world. So I don't know how exactly that whole thing works, but depending on how high it goes with that can end up making a big difference for the different properties we're going to have options to. Because there may end up being just a ton of like really, really awesome hotels you can end up booking through Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It just, I don't think they're gonna end up letting like the ultra high level ones just be going for like 40,000 points. It may end up being a new category they're gonna add in. I think that's one thing they're trying to figure out right now. But um, I'm banking on the Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If Mr. and Mrs. Smith doesn't go well, then Hyatt's gonna have it's just running out of. There's just not that many places you're gonna be able to stay. That's kind of gonna end up being an issue. It's just running out of properties. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it'd be great to see you again as well, Cesar. Yeah, for all those who are in here, if you aren't aware, there is a Points and Miles meetup going to be in New Orleans, Labor Day. So Labor Day weekend. So we'll be meeting up on the Saturday in, I forget where in New Orleans. It's, it's definitely going to be near, I'm assuming near like Bourbon Street. I don't know. I think Chad has it all set up. You can check out as well on Anthony Ventures Discord. He has like a page on there that's talking about it. But as long as you're in New Orleans that weekend, you'll be able to connect with us. So yeah. Let's see, what did John say? He says, John, you are going, JP. Need to wipe out the bad memories, replace it with memories of hanging out with us. Yeah. Honestly, that's what I've been thinking. I mean, listen, it wasn't a horrible time when I was out there, but we're all grown adults, and everyone's probably been on a trip with a lady friend that didn't go as the way you would want it to be. It ended nice, but a lot of the trip was just us arguing about the dumbest stuff. So now I'm kind of like, well, out of all the trips that I've done in like the last since the pandemic, that's the only one that I have like consistent. I lost my wallet, got stolen, I got pickpocketed. It was just, oh my goodness, there's so many different things that happened in the time out there. But yeah, I should go just to say, oh yeah, I was having fun. Maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe it could have been going to Mardi Gras. Some people said if you go to Mardi Gras, just go alone. Don't go with someone you might be dating. Maybe that was an error there. I don't know. But I definitely want to go back to Mardi Gras, try that again, and then I definitely want to go back to New Orleans. And you're right. This is probably a great time to go get some new memories out there. Sledge, what's going on, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Salute to Sledge. Can't stay long. Going live. Oh, you're going live as well. Okay, yeah. I know I meant to go earlier. It's been a busy year, and there's gonna be a lot of changes happening in my life, and I'm probably gonna be shooting more videos and trying to do more travel, and there's a lot of different things going on. So, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be on this very long, so I'll probably go over and try to catch your live as well, Sledge. So, yep. And I need to write into more people's things because I catch in on a lot of people's things and listen, and I'll sometimes I catch it even after, but I don't always comment. I know I need to comment more. But one thing I did want to say on this is that I have a membership option as well on my page, like many other creators you may see have. So I don't know how many people saw it, but I have right now a community group on Facebook where you can join. You can come in asking questions, or if you want to also post some of your wins. This is what I want to have people do. Show some of the stuff of them traveling would end up being great. So if you happen to have a Facebook page, please join the Facebook Cheap Travel Knowledge community. I gave out a gift before, and I'm also going to be giving out more gifts. And this gift that I'm going to be giving out in the month of March is going to be for my members. So I gave out a Hyatt Globalist, I don't even know what you even call it, Globalist certificate before. So you can end up being a globalist for one of your stays. So all I asked was just for someone to join the group, write about a trip that you had, and that was what I gave for that. So now for one of my members, I currently don't have any, but if whoever out of my members who joins to become a member, I will be giving away another one of these to a member. So hopefully some people want to become a member. I'm going to be having more things I'm going to be putting up for members only as well. But just to try to get some people to be members, letting you guys know that I will be giving out different things that I have. So the guest of honor is what it is. Guest of honor certificate is what I gave out before, and that's what I'm most likely going to end up being the gift I'm giving out this time as well. So it's good for a year. If you want to feel like a globalist, for one of your trips. You can get yourself usually room upgrades, free breakfast, free parking. It's a pretty decent, pretty decent thing to have. So check out my memberships on my YouTube channel. So let's see, what else do we got here? Any Hyatt properties you booked because they are being devalued this month? So one of them I was looking at because I have right now currently booked up. I'm going to be going to India, but this is going to be like next year. Like a little, yeah. So it'd be like winter time, be like January of next year. I want to be in India. So one of the properties out there I was looking at, and they are going up. So that was one of the ones I was looking at. But some of the other ones that I've been looking at are going down. I don't think, and the ones that I already have booked right now, I don't think any of them are changing. I have quite a few that are booked. I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, none of the ones. Oh, that's actually, yeah. Some of them that I already have booked are going up, so it's not gonna make that much of a difference. But I have been looking at going to. I think India would be a cool place to go to. Someone said go, either like December, January, February. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But some of the properties over there going up. So yeah, that's something that I've looked at. But yeah, I would say the biggest one that people are probably trying to book up before it changes end up being the Andaz out in Costa Rica. That just ends up being a really expensive property that I think, like, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like 2 years ago that property was like a category 4. I'm pretty sure. So let's see, what is it now? So let's see, Costa Rica. Yeah, so it's about to be a category 7. I'm pretty sure maybe like 2020 that was like a category 4. And I remember being like, whoa, this is actually a pretty cool place I might want to stay at. And I remember even looking at it for trying to do it, I think in 2021. I forget why I didn't go. But now it's about to be a category 7. So it just comes down to what is everyone booking up, because the price point ends up being so high. For me, it's not always about, hey, am I getting the greatest of value? I know that that's a big thing in this points and miles game. A lot of the times is, does the property look good? Where is it? Am I at least getting base level value for what I rank as my points? And then I end up going, okay, how badly do I want to stay at this property? So because there's cool hotels that I see out there that at least other people consider as being really cool, and I just go, I don't know if I even want to spend the points on that, because it doesn't blow me away. But I know other people were like, you got to go to this one. So one of them that, like, it did blow me away, which was the Park Hyatt in Kyoto. That one I was like, wow, this looks really, really cool. And when I went there, it hit every expectation, even more. I got upgraded to a room where I'm gonna have a video coming out. I think it's like a couple weeks. Hard to edit it. It's just staggering out the videos. Where, like, I had a beautiful view of like one of the big shrines out there. It's very famous. So yeah, I mean, like, the money level for properties is, I'm not saying it's not important, but it definitely comes down to how, like, the property I stayed at, the Thompson in Mexico in Playa del Carmen, was awesome. It was an absolutely awesome hotel. I'll tell anyone to stay there, cash or points. That hotel is fantastic. It is so nice. You have an infinity pool on the rooftop. You get to also have access to some of the different stuff at the other Thompson hotel. It's like right on the ocean, which I didn't stay there because the pool wasn't as nice, and it just didn't make sense to even have to use the more points. But definitely try to get base level value for your points. But yeah, sometimes even if the points are listed as, like, something is listed at such a high price, it's not always the like, I stayed in Osaka, and I did the Conrad in Osaka. I stayed at, another video is gonna be coming out, and that one I used my American Express Platinum, Fine Hotels and Resorts. That one's listed at, I think was a little over $400 after taxes and fees, and I got the $200 back. That hotel is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And if you look at, like, cents per point, it probably wouldn't have been very good, because I think it would have been like 80,000 points of Hilton. So it would have been right around the normal half a cent per point, as compared to, some people are probably looking more to get themselves like near a cent per point. And granted, I was going in, the winter time, so it could have made a difference for the time of the year I was going. But I would recommend that hotel to anyone. That hotel, this is my first Conrad I've stayed at. I've heard Luke talk about it many, many times. They were fantastic there. I definitely going to be staying at Conrad's in the future. Just absolutely perfect hotel, great experience. your 40 stories in the sky, looking out as you have if you want to have lunch there or drinks there, and the price point was good. It didn't need to be a $900 a night hotel. It was fantastic at the price point it was. Let's see who we have here. I salute to you. Oh yeah, salute to you as well, Sledge. Yeah, category sevens. Yeah, yeah, and then it's like I don't think there was many that changed to category 8. So if you do happen to have a category 1 to 7 certificate, funny thing about it is, there was the one in Indonesia, which a lot of people did like, but I was like, I feel like Indonesia is so cheap anyways. Why do you need? I guess if you go to that one specific spot, um, like I sometimes look at that and I'm like, if you're at a place location that's not overly expensive to stay there, then do you, like being I don't know, being in Indonesia, you can find places out there that are not going to be crazy expensive. Now, obviously, this specific hotel is going to be very, very expensive, but when I see that, I'm just like, you can go to Indonesia, you probably could find a really, really nice hotel for like $150. So, like, I've even looked at like using my the American Express Platinum Fine Hotels and Resorts over there because I'm like, you can get so much good value if you use like a $200 towards it. You might even be able to get yourself like a free night, maybe even like close to even more at some properties, like almost like a night and a half over in Indonesia. So, but yeah, so I have a category 1 certificate with Hyatt from becoming a globalist, and I have to figure out where I'm even going to use it because I have so many things booked. And the problem with the World of Hyatt program, I know Cesar will love all the different problems with the Hyatt program, but one of the other problems with the Hyatt program is that there's certain certificates that you get that end up only giving you 6 months to be able to use. So if you have the credit card, you get yourself a certificate that gives you 1 year you can end up using. If you hit the minimum spend for the credit card, you get yourself 1 year to be able to use that. If you get yourself the 5 different brands, you get yourself 1 year to be able to use that. But if you end up having one of the hotels, if you end up getting yourself a free night award certificate from hitting the 30 nights or from hitting the 60 nights, you only get 6 months before it expires. Now, I have read data points where if you end up getting near the expiration, or I think if it does expire, you can call them up, and many of the times they will end up giving you some level of points. It might end up being like 20 or 25,000, which I would take that over a free night award certificate just for the versatility. But it is annoying that it's only 6 months. You give me a year to be able to use a 1 to 7 certificate, that's fantastic. I'll find a place to be able to use it that's going to give me great value in the year. You give me 6 months, I already have so much stuff booked up in the 6 months, and I can't bank on waiting for this thing to hit my account because, as many of you all may know, a lot of the Hyatt hotels, the rooms come, but then they can end up losing out availability on them. So I didn't want for some of the different hotels that I was looking at to be able. Now, there might be some I could swap it into a place where it wouldn't be a category 7. It would be like a little bit lower, but at least I would get some points back. But it is annoying. That's one of the things about within the World of Hyatt program with those. And then also, if you happen to be using a suite upgrade award, you can't combine that with the free night award certificate. So there's places where I want to use a free night award certificate, and also I want to use a suite upgrade award, and I can't combine those two. So it ends up there's a few things that can be annoying with the program. I still think the program, when it comes to just redeeming points and getting good value, when it comes to at least transferring points, it makes the most sense for a hotel. But it doesn't come without its hiccups and flaws and frustrations, like a lot of the other programs as well. Let's see what other people here are saying. You said, what's my favorite Park Hyatt? Park Hyatt Kyoto or Park? So I stayed at Park Hyatt Kyoto is probably like, I would say like one of the coolest hotels I've ever stayed at. It's probably the coolest hotel I've ever stayed at. But I'm a film buff, and I watched the movie Lost in Translation many years ago, and I remember thinking to myself after seeing that film, wow, I would love to stay at that hotel. That hotel looks so cool. And then when I got into the points and miles game, I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a hotel that I could use points to be able to stay at. I'm definitely staying there. So when I went to Tokyo in May and I got to stay there, it just felt kind of like surreal being able to be in like not exactly the same room as I don't know why my family's calling me. Be not exactly the same room, but be in a very similar room to the one that like Bill Murray was staying in that movie, and then what else was I saying? and then just the view going up to seeing um, the New York bar. I love that hotel, and I know that now they're doing renovations to it, so I'm really curious to see what it ends up being as it comes back. So they haven't done any changes to it since I think what was it, like I think it came out in like 2000, so it's been almost 25 years, and they're about to make some changes to it. So I don't even know if it's even I think it's next year that they're going to open it back up. So 2025, it's going to come back up. And then I'm curious to see what that hotel looks like in 2025. But yeah, I think it's one of those two. I mean, if I was to recommend a hotel to somebody, I would say go with the Park Hyatt Kyoto. You're going to have, I think, probably a better experience there, just from everything. It's just fantastic there. But for me personally, I loved the Park Hyatt Tokyo. That was just awesome. Fillmore, downtown or Midtown. Conrad's are great. Yep. Midtown was great. Midtown. I'm not sure what you guys mean by Midtown. I've been able to get good value for short Hyatt stays to position myself before flights. Okay, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like Hyatt places like that, London is my main, and we'll try a couple of Cambrias from Choice. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't. I've looked into Choice a little bit. One thing that I've had a problem with is getting approved for city cards. I've gotten approved for the American Airlines cards, but I've applied for the city Premier card. I don't know how many times. It's got to be near 3, and I've gotten denied every single time. So I can't get. But what I'm going to do, one thing that's cool about City is that you can product change your airline card to another one of City's cards, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna product change my my American Airlines Aviator or Advantage card that I have with City to either the custom cash or to the double cash. What did I say? Double cash and custom cash, either one of those, and then just start racking up some things that can become transferable points with City to be able to get myself some points, then be able to, at some point, try to transfer over to Choice. Because I've seen some stuff where I go, oh, it could be okay for something like that, like positioning flights, or like if you need to stay overnight at some places. But yeah, I haven't really dived into that program as much. It's always interesting how the Points Miles is, because I feel like there's a lot of people who are experts in their specific thing. You know, like I know Hyatt decently well, and I understand how to like redeem points really well, but only with like specific programs. Some people are much better with other programs. So like, okay, I really like using, like, the next time I get an opportunity to transfer over to Virgin Atlantic and get myself just a bunch of points, I'm just gonna speculatively do, because they already did devaluation last year, so I don't think they're gonna just do another one really quick. But I just the last few times that they've had transfer bonuses, I've taken advantage of it, and I've just got myself fantastic things. And now I keep on seeing more things that I want, but me being the cheapskate that I am, I want to get myself even better value. So I'm waiting for the 20 or 30% transfer bonus. And I think the only one that has right now is City, where I don't have any dang points. So, yeah. But yeah. Hyatt has some good. If you're looking for the Hyatt places, yeah, like the Hyatt, the Grand Hyatts are great. My favorite Hyatts have actually been Thompson hotels, because I think that Thompson hotels end up being like really, really nice, and usually don't end up being the top amount of cost. So I feel like it's like something that can end up being a fantastic hotel that doesn't end up costing a ridiculous amount. So that can end up being really, really cool. But Park Hyatts are great. And then Andaz, I usually try to stay at like either Thompson or Andaz. Those are the ones that I try to stay at within the Hyatt program. But yeah, I'm liking these Conrads, and actually, I'm gonna have some trips. If anyone here follows me on Instagram, you're probably gonna see soon. I'm gonna have some more trips popping up that I'm about to be taking, and I'm gonna spoil them on this live right here. But I will be staying at some more Hilton hotels, which is gonna be nice, and then also some more Hyatts. So it's definitely gonna be a pretty cool year, you know, with a lot of different trips. Okay, so we have let's see. Got too many City points? You have too many City points? How do you get too many City points? You got to figure out how we can. Okay, I wish we could trade points. I wish I'd give you some of my. I have too many American Express points. Let me give you some of my American Express points, Cesar. You could take some of my City points. Or sorry, let me take some of your City points. Let's see. rooms are only so big. So Sledge and Filmo are talking. So flying to Japan on the new Airbus first class, 2 weeks. Oh, so you're flying on the the A350-1000 for the Japan Airlines first class? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I've looked at that. Yeah, so you have to be flying out of New York. There's only, I believe, one route a day um, out of New York, and then or also out of Haneda to New York. They are going to be doing another one, I believe, out of Dallas. I think there's like some speculation that's going to be hoping, I think, sometime in like June that's going to be available. Because I think you can do a paid fare right now, and there's only like 6 seats available. I was looking at 1 mile at a time. I was talking about that. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, but I'm assuming, and that looks pretty cool. I do want to do that. I did book myself a Japan Airlines first class in the older product for the end of this year for like a. I'm trying to conclude the year with some kind of big bang going over to Asia again, but I got myself that with some American Airlines miles, so that's pretty good. You know, it's cool to be able to find that. But yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I've looked at that. It looks really, really cool. I just did ANA first class, and that was on their new product, and that was the best flying experience that I've ever had. It was just fantastic. So hopefully you end up having just as good, maybe even better, because it's a few years newer. I mean, I think that product from ANA came out in 2019, and then with the pandemic, it didn't really get to get used as much. But then I was able to fly it this year. But yeah, Japan Airlines is really trying to you know step the game up with that new product. They just need to get in more airports. Fly out of LAX. That'd be cool. So so let's see. Got the city trifecta 3 months. We'll go to city plus. Okay, a couple days. We'll have the quadfecta. Nice. That's awesome, Cesar. Salute. All right. Later, Sledge. I know you probably said this a minute ago. My bad. I can ramble a little bit, and I can also read kind of slow. So city doesn't want me either. Yeah. Sorry, Filmo. I feel so. I think that the American Airlines card, especially their business card, I think is one of the easier cards to get. So maybe after getting that, try going for the Premier, one of the other cards. But I'm imagining if I end up now that I've had the personal card, when I end up probably changing that to either the custom cash or the city double cash, I imagine that if I'm already with them, they're going to approve me at some point. But lately, I've just been getting a lot of ink cards. I've gotten so many ink cards and so many points from that. So I just racked up a ton of chase points. So if I ended up getting the Premier card, I would have been over 524 this time. So I'm actually okay with being denied. I feel like it's been a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I still want some of those points. I mean, I really wanted them because I wanted more ability to use Turkish Airlines. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted Venture X, which I still am a big fan of. But now the Turkish Airlines is kind of at a point where I don't really want to use them. I just transferred over to Singapore Airlines now. And now now my Venture miles have become my least valuable miles because of what Turkish just did. And it doesn't mean that they're not valuable. They just become my least valuable miles because I'm trying to figure out unless I'm specifically going to Istanbul, I'm trying to figure out or flying out of Istanbul. I'm trying to figure out where am I using them, I guess excluding also domestic economy flights with United, which you can still do, but it's still a pain in the butt to do that. Turkish, I hate their website more than any other one. Like Avianca can be quite annoying, can sometimes drive me up the wall as well, but Turkish Airlines, like the password thing, everything, it just is the amount of hassle that it takes. You go, okay, it's a lot of hassle, but I'm getting a good deal. Now you're getting a deal that's the same, if not worse than other ones out there. So why would you ever put up with that hassle anymore? That's kind of like what's going on in my mind with the Turkish program. So now because of that, now I look at my Venture miles and I go, okay, well, what is the value of them? I mean, they're still great programs, but they just don't have any that are so much higher value than many of the other or better than the other programs. They don't have, like Chase has, even if you don't like Hyatt, they still have Hyatt. It's something that's different. They still have United. That doesn't have the greatest of deals, but it's still something that's different, and you can take advantage of the excursionist perk. It has other programs that you can take advantage of some of their things and be able to get yourself good value. But now I look at the Venture miles, and I'm like, okay, well, they're just going to be the first ones I'm going to transfer when I want to transfer to something I don't have to see a transfer bonus. Because I've also been looking at like the history of transfer bonuses, and they don't have it as frequently as most other programs. American Express has the most transfer bonuses out there just throughout the year. So they're going to be the strongest points when it comes to try to transfer to airlines. And then um, may end up being City, I think, is number two. And then Chase is starting to get more into the transfer bonus game. And then I know that, Capital One hasn't been in it for as long, but they don't do as many transfer bonuses. At least they haven't. And then Built is, in my opinion, the most valuable points because when they do transfer bonuses, they're just outrageous. I took advantage of the one with Flying Blue, and I've done that a couple times, and I probably will end up doing that again if they end up popping it up, or if they do something with like Virgin Atlantic, because it's I mean, if you can get yourself 100% transfer bonus, that's just ridiculous. So let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Sorry, I missed out on a few things. Easy to get 2 cents per point used in choice. Transfer, yep. As Cesar said. JL5, yep. Yeah, flying out of JFK would be totally random because I booked it a year ago as the, yeah, we did it right. Honestly, so I was thinking about doing it when I first was seeing that, and I was like, okay, I'll do it maybe for the end of the year, because that was kind of what I was thinking of, because I was looking at just different places. I want to try to have like a conclusion of the year that's going to be pretty awesome. And I was like, oh, this would be really cool to book. But then I started to go, well, I don't even know if I'm even gonna where I'm even gonna go over here, or what I'm gonna do. And as I started to book other things, then I started going, okay, now I need to get over to Asia. And I was like, well, damn, I wish I could have did the new product. I would have tried that. But that's great for you. That should be really, really cool. It looks fantastic. The seat is like you could fit like 3 people in there. It's just so spacious. I've done the first class, just the regular one, and I did it from, or I guess the older version. I did it from Haneda to LA, and that one you still get like the Salon champagne, which is really cool, very tasty. $1,000 it cost a bottle, which I'm not. Listen, I grew up broke as can be, so I can't. I was not able to tell the difference, but I will say that as I've been flying more in business and first class, I've been noticing the different levels of champagne. It's kind of funny when you start to become somewhat of a champagne snob. Like I flew American Airlines first class a few weeks ago, and that champagne was not good. It was not good at all. Um, like I just drank it because they gave it to me, and I think that's what I'm supposed to do in first class. But I was just like, nah, I'm switching it up. I try to drink beers when I fly, because then you have to run to the bathroom a million times. But I was just like, I gotta something else because this is just not very good. But that's so cool. I'm so happy for you. Um, yeah, you're right. So he says after doing this for a couple of years, a lot of great deals involve flexibility and luck. 100%. So 100%, it comes down to being flexible. Like I don't know how many people here know, but I have a service that I got going right now where I am helping people with consultations and also with award bookings, and just helping people book and do travel using points. One of the big things that I try to tell people about it is that, because people start to try to figure out, okay, well, are my points useless? Because I see you can go ahead and do these things where you're flying in first class and business class, and I'm trying to do that, and you tell me that either I'm gonna have to move around days or that it's gonna cost me an astronomical amount of points. I'm like, yeah, one of the biggest things is that you're either gonna have to book really far in advance, or you're gonna have to be very flexible with the certain days. Because you can end up being flexible with the certain days, then that's how you can end up getting the like really, really great deals. Really, really great deals come down to just being the flexibility. My first class that I flew with ANA, I got to do the new product, and I didn't book it as a new product. They changed it to being the new product, which was fantastic. And then on the way home, they changed it to being the new product. But then right when I got to the airport, I didn't even notice, but they changed it back to being the old product, and I was like, oh, okay. And there were so many people so angry. This is all people in business class. I was in first class. They were so angry about having the old ANA business class. And I get it, if you paid $5,000 to fly in the new business class that has a door and all these other, I think the biggest business class seat that's available. Um, and then you got the older one. They were heated, and I was just like, oh yeah, well, sometimes the luck comes for you, like it did for me the first time, and then sometimes they take it away. So but yes, flexibility is good. And you said, I think brokers are really killing this hobby. So frustrating. Um, I don't even know if it's. I think that the brokers hurt it to a degree. I think there's a few things that And some of the things I may say end up being kind of controversial, but I'll just say them anyways. Is I think some of the things that end up hurting the game. One of the things that ends up being a good thing, but also I think hurts the game is um, freely being able to book and then cancel. So I've taken advantage of this myself because originally I was just not, I don't know if originally, but I guess most people end up doing this where you just book something and you go, okay, this is what I want to do, and then you just go what you have. But what many people end up doing in this game is they book so many days because if you have, say, for instance, you know, 800,000 American Airlines miles, you can just start booking up Japan Airlines first class for 80,000 points all around the country or all around different days. And you just took up all those days and then you can just cancel at any time and there's no repercussion for it. So what can end up happening there is it's great that you end up getting to be able to get the day that you wanted, but the days that you're trying to open up, you don't open up until like a couple weeks before. Whereas if there was some type of penalty for the booking, now I'm not saying that this is, I don't think there should necessarily be a penalty if you just book and cancel, but I think that there probably should be a limit to how many either within the year you can end up doing, because I think that that would change up the game for how much people are just booking, canceling, which is what I think a lot of the, even like the brokers end up doing, because then they can figure out what day that the availability is going to pop up for rebooking for another person for the time that they're trying to go. So they can just book it, know that they have that date, cancel it, know that that's probably going to jump back into the system. And then when it ends up jumping back in the system, they're ready for it. And then they rebook it for that person using those cheaper miles or just under that person's name. So um, some of the programs where they have like the cancellation fees and things like that, it like, I mean, I try to avoid them myself if I know that I might cancel. But at the same time, I'm like, I know that within those programs, there probably is going to be um, better odds of availability because people who are like the brokers and things like that are probably not going to want to um, speculatively book because it's going to cost you maybe $150, $75. Some programs, I think, dude, was it Etihad that just changed it where it's like you book and you cancel, you lose like, I think if it's past a month of time, you lose like 25% of your points. If it's within a month of time, it's like 50% of your points, and if it's within a week before the time, it's like 70. It's like a ridiculous amount of points to a point where you would never want to book it and cancel it because you're going to lose so much. So it doesn't need to be to that extreme, but it also, I think that if you have a little bit of a penalty, it does hurt the brokers from wanting to make an enormous amount of bookings out there and possibly canceling just so they can end up doing these, getting these type of awards out there taken away. So, but yeah, they do hurt the game. I wonder to what degree. I've read in different articles, people have different levels of what they think. I think it's a very, very big, um, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it company, but just a very, very big part of what's taking up the award space. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that wasn't too too controversial to say that people can't. Because here's the thing, I've done it. I do it myself. I do it myself because I just know that this is how the game is. This is how I need to find award availability. Before I had this Japan Airlines first class, I booked it. For a different one, I booked a business class, and then I saw the first class come up, and then I booked the first class. So I just switched it up. It didn't cost me anything. It was just easy to be able to change. And then I saw her on a different day, and I booked the first class on a different day. So I was able to just, if you have enough miles, you can just kind of keep on doing the game like that. Keith S., what's going on? So I'm staying at the Thompson Central Park Monday and Tuesday night. I got 2.6 cents per point. The best part is no fees or NYC. I'm assuming you mean like parking fees, so globalist bookings too. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So if it's not even, whether it be parking fees or whether it be, I don't know if that would end up having a resort fee in New York, but yeah, the great thing about being globalist is how many of the fees you can remove. If you are someone who drives and wants to park, you rent cars as you travel, and you want to park, that stuff's going to add up if you're there for a week. So having globalists or getting yourself like a guest of honor booking can end up saving you a ton of money. One of the cool things of the hotel stay that I had with the Conrad was, since I did it through Fine Hotels and Resorts, I did get myself free breakfast. Like, free breakfast at the Conrad was great. So like I look at that and I'm like, okay, I haven't been staying at the nicest of Hilton hotels. Now that I have, and I've gotten myself some free breakfasts here. Well, it was buffet style versus the choosing of it. Like having to choose specific dishes like you would with a lot of the Hyatt hotels. Although not in Asia. Well, I guess in some parts of Asia it's like that. But I found that to be great, and I was like, okay, I value the free breakfast with Gold Stash, which I get from my American Express Platinum card at Conrad's. I'm assuming also at Waldorf Astoria's. They're great. I don't have to think about it being some tiny little breakfast where I feel like I need to just leave the hotel and go somewhere else. Excuse me, I've had a cough hitting me pretty hard this week. But so yeah, so that makes me look at Hilton. I mean, I got some Hilton points racked up. I don't think I talk about it as much on my channel, but I have Hilton cards. I have Hilton cards. I racked up Hilton points. I've stayed at Hilton hotels, and I have a decent amount of Hilton points saved up. I'm trying to look at when I'm going to use them, like what property. Like I've been looking at some cool ones. I want to use that like a pretty top property of when I'm going to use my Hiltons. Some of them I've just been like, all right, maybe let's use up some of these. Actually, this one I'm staying, I use my Hilton points, but I'm just looking at like some of the other top ones. Maybe at one of the Conrads, maybe at one of the Waldorfs that I kind of see. So yeah, but all right, I'm gonna look at a few more things. I'm about to head out. But again, as I said earlier in this video, for those of you who like my content, I'm going to be having a decent amount more content coming out. I know I didn't have a ton come out in the last month. I've had a lot of stuff going on within my life. Also with me traveling, but you're going to see more content coming out. You're going to see more travel videos. Hopefully people like that. I'm getting better at it every single time I do it. Does feel a little bit uncomfortable as I'm recording, as I'm in planes and at certain places, but I'm starting to feel more and more comfortable figuring out ways how to edit and be better about it. So hopefully people enjoy that content, because I'm going to have more of that, and also explaining how you can do this for very cheap. But I am going to have different things that I'm either going to be giving away as members or having just member videos. So as I said before, for anyone who hasn't already joined, I have the Cheap Travel Knowledge community on YouTube, on Facebook. You can join that, post some of your different wins, post some of the questions you might have. It's a great way to be able to communicate with me. And then also I have a members option here on this channel. So if you want to be a member, please join and be a member. And I will be giving a giveaway this month for a member. At the moment, right now, I believe I'm going to be doing another guest of honor. So anyone who likes to stay with the Hyatt Hotels, that is what's going to be the first gift for the new members. I'm going to just choose someone who's one of the members of the JP Knowledge YouTube channel. So if you want the ability to be able to be gifted that, please become a member on this channel. I'll be very appreciative to anyone who decides to do that. I'm just going to read a few more things on here, and then I'm going to head out. So let's see. Do you use Viator or anything like that for activities? I always do. Yes, I use Viator all the time. I was just in Korea, so I went to Korea and Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo about like a month ago, and I used Viator. I don't know which one you call it. When I was in Korea for a tour, I met all these great people on there, and we went out for drinks after. It was someone who lived in Singapore, someone from London, another woman who was in the Marines, but she was stationed out in Okinawa. So if you happen to be a solo traveler, it can end up being a great way to connect with people. I did the same thing when I was in Mexico, met up with some people over there. Same thing in Tokyo when I went in May. I love that, but also it's a great way to get to many places if you don't happen to rent out a car, be able to see the city without needing to pay for a bunch of different either taxis or getting lost from trying to use the public transportation. So I always like to try to at least see the main attractions that are out there, such as, whatever big things I'm supposed to see. And what I do is I try to get myself do a tour where I can end up seeing the main attractions from that. And then after that, I like to just try to see stuff like the locals, see what else could be popular out there. But Viator can end up being a great thing to do. And one thing that I will recommend highly with Viator ends up being food tours. I've done numerous food and drink tours in a lot of different places that I've went to, and they have been so much fun. You get to eat like the locals. The only one I wouldn't do I didn't end up doing it, was the one in Korea. And the reason why I didn't do the one in Korea was because you also had to pay for the food. So you're paying the person, I don't know how much it was costing, maybe $80 or something to take you to the restaurants. And you also had to pay for the food at the restaurants. I'm not doing that. I'll pay for it if you end up telling me what restaurants you're going to, and you also explain the food, give me a nice tour, and then also you give me the food. So that I highly recommend. But yeah, and then you get to rack up membership reward points. I've done it numerous times where it's 15%, where it ends up being, I got it times at 20%. So I've racked up a decent amount of membership reward points just from using Viator. I use that service quite a bit. I would say most places I travel to, I try to use it at least like one time to be able to see the main attractions. I've done it numerous times. Yes, I'm a big fan of that. I don't think I've even had a bad experience with it yet. I've had a couple times where they've canceled because there hasn't been enough people a part of the tour. But other than that, it's been great. Great, great, great. Especially if you don't want to have to rent a car and have to think about all of that hassle. You can be able to just get to many locations if you want to do like a tour of the city, whether it be a big bus one or if you end up just doing a small. I like the smaller tours more, but highly recommended. Sorry for the long ramble again. Maybe he meant New York City taxes. Oh, it could be that as well. Yeah. You're talking about earlier when I was talking about the no, he said fees, but yeah, it could be the taxes. Yeah. Yes, typo on my phone and got a call. Okay. JP, what's the most expensive trip you've paid with with cash since you started in the points and miles game? With cash, so the whole trip wasn't cash, but when I went to London, I did that one kind of like a later booking, and I did it in economy. But one because I just was looking at it, and the tax and fees were just stupid to try to fly to in and out of London. I just didn't want to pay them, and I was like, it's so close to, I might as well just. So I just did it in economy. So that one ended up being, but it was kind of a good deal at the time. But that one ended up being, it was like, I think it was somewhere near about $800 round trip from LA to London, which wasn't. I don't think that's bad. I think that's decent. And I did during the Queen's Jubilee, and that one probably was the most expensive. I can't think of what other one could have been more expensive than that. Um, because most of the other ones, even when I flew in economy, I still would use like points to get to some of the other locations. So, trying to think. Yeah, I don't know which other one would be more expensive than that London trip. That one I believe is going to end up being the most expensive one. But I guess if you talk about like adding in taxes and fees and things like that, then well, actually, you know what? So the trip I just went to Kyoto and Osaka, that started to add up a little. I went and did like a really nice restaurant, so that one ended up being kind of expensive. But as a whole, I tend to not spend very much money. I tend to get myself free breakfast at the hotel. I tend to get lunch, and then like maybe I'll spend some on drinks, but I don't usually end up getting blasted when I'm overseas. Just being nervous. I will say in Korea, I did have some soju, and I did not realize how hard that stuff would hit me. So there was me and this Korean dude who were roaming around the city, and I was I was way drunker than I thought I would be due to the fact that soju is a lot stronger than I realized. I never really had soju, and I was just keeping up with him, and he was a lot smaller than me, and I was like, "Whoa, this stuff is strong." I did not realize to what degree we were drinking, but yeah, I try not to spend too much. I tell myself usually the max can end up being $100 a day, and it's rare that I ever exceed that. Rare. So if I'm somewhere for 10 days, my budget ended up being $1,000. And usually, because I'll even bring like some foreign currency and things like that with me, usually I'm significantly less than that. It just comes down to like what type of things I may be doing. If I'm having to be going on a date with someone, then that can make it more expensive. So, but usually I'm pretty good about staying low on cost when traveling. So, but yeah, that's my time today, guys. I'm gonna be having more videos coming out. I will have a video coming out tomorrow, I believe. So check that out on my channel, and then you're gonna see a lot more videos. Please become a member, and if you want to help support the channel, and if you want to try to talk to me, and yeah, hopefully that. Oh, I got one more thing. Do you ever see yourself going the RJ Financials route and becoming cashback guy later in life? So I originally was all cashback for a while. I was cashback guy for most of the time. And I thought everyone who's in the points and miles game was, I would say, it wasn't me saying scam. It was me saying that the value that they're saying they're getting, I didn't count it as what they were getting. And this is something I think like Luke talks about a lot, where people will say, "Oh, that's a $20,000 or that's a $15,000 seat that you got. You wouldn't pay $15,000 for it." And I was kind of one of those people. I wouldn't pay that, so therefore I'm not getting that. But then I just wanted to travel more. I started to travel a little bit more just around the country, and then I wanted to go to different places overseas. And then as I started to do that, I just said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my points and miles be my travel fund. So if I can put that in my head as that way, then I don't see why I would turn into cash back, because if I want more cash, I will just work more. I will do more hustle things. I'll resell stuff. I'll do whatever I need to do to get more cash. Whereas if I want to fly in business and first class, how am I going to do that? Am I going to pay $4,000 or $5,000 for I just don't ever see myself doing that. I would have to make a lot of money to do that. And I enjoy flying this way. I don't have to. I could fly in economy, but I don't like to. Usually after you get past the 3-hour threshold for me, I'm like, okay, get me I'm ready to get off this plane. And then like if I fly back to Boston where I'm from, then it usually ends up being like 5.5 to 6 hours. And then usually by that time, I'm like, okay, I'm done. So international, it'd be great to be able to do the business class. It's just a much better experience. So I don't see myself going that way anytime soon. I just see myself as, the question I ask myself more now is, am I going to start doing more first over business? That's actually where I'm at, where it's like, business is really good, and first is just, it feels a little bit better, but is it worth more than the business? So I'm more at that spot right now than I am at going all the way back down to cashback. So I don't see myself going there. When I get there, it becomes, the way I think of it is like this. Anyone who's playing cashback, it's like putting your money in the S&P 500, which is what I do. Okay. It's going to work. You put your money in the S&P 500, you're going to win over time, but there's no game to it. I wouldn't put in as much effort into putting my money into the S&P 500 as if you're trying to figure out, is Tesla stock going to jump at this point, or is this going to happen with this? That's where the points and miles game ends up being more like individual stocks as compared to cashback. It's very simple to understand. It's a very simple way to go about it. So a long-winded answer for your question. No, I do not see myself going that way. Anywho, that's my time, guys. Thank you all for being here with me. I'll catch you all later. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Check out my video coming out, I believe, tomorrow. So, all right, peace out to you all.